Hey everyone, today I've uncovered 14 surprising facts about Volodymyr Zelensky that will definitely blow your mind. Some of these he might even wish stayed hidden. But we're here to dig them up, so sit back, relax, and get ready for a mix of intrigue and a little irony. Fact 1. Comedian before becoming president. Volodymyr Zelensky's career began in entertainment, where he gained widespread fame as a comedian, actor, and producer. His journey into the spotlight started during his university years when he participated in the popular comedy competition KVN, Club of the Cheerful and Witty, which was a cultural phenomenon in post-Soviet countries. As captain of the team Kvartal 95, Zelensky showcased his talent for satire, humor, and quick wit. The team's success eventually evolved into a production company, also called Kvartal 95, which became a major force in Ukrainian television. Under Zelensky's leadership, Kvartal 95 created numerous hit comedy shows, movies, and sketches that often addressed sensitive societal and political issues through humor. One of their standout productions was the satirical TV series Servant of the People, where Zelensky played the role of Vasyl Holoborodko, a humble high school history teacher who unexpectedly becomes the president of Ukraine after his anti-corruption rant goes viral. The show resonated deeply with Ukrainian audiences, reflecting widespread frustration with real-world corruption and bureaucracy. Remarkably, this fictional storyline turned into reality when Zelensky announced his candidacy for president in 2019. His background as an entertainer set him apart from traditional politicians. Having spent years crafting narratives that connected with ordinary citizens, Zelensky had a unique ability to communicate directly and effectively with people. His experience in comedy also taught him to be relatable, quick on his feet, and unafraid to confront difficult topics with honesty and humor. Zelensky's career in entertainment didn't just prepare him for politics, it defined his approach to leadership. He brought a fresh, modern, and people-focused style to Ukrainian politics, breaking away from traditional, rigid political norms and creating a new type of public persona, one that was both approachable and inspiring. Fact 2. Lawyer by education. Before his rise in entertainment and politics, Volodymyr Zelensky earned a law degree from the Kryvyi Economic Institute, a branch of Kyiv National Economic University. However, despite completing his studies, he never worked as a lawyer, choosing instead to follow his passion for comedy and the arts. Zelensky's decision to study law was influenced by his upbringing in an intellectual family. His father, a professor of cybernetics, and his mother, an engineer. While law seemed like a stable and respectable career path, his involvement in the KVN comedy competition during his student years changed the course of his life. Comedy became a creative outlet, and he soon transitioned from academic studies to entertainment full-time. Though he didn't practice law, the skills Zelensky developed, critical thinking, problem-solving, and understanding legal frameworks, proved invaluable later in his political career. His legal background shaped his focus on justice and anti-corruption reforms, central themes of his presidency. This unconventional journey highlights Zelensky's ability to pivot and succeed in radically different fields, from law to entertainment to politics. Fact 3. Multilingual skills. Volodymyr Zelensky's fluency in Ukrainian, Russian, and English has been a key asset in his political and international roles. Growing up in the predominantly Russian-speaking city of Kryvyi Rih, Zelensky's first language was Russian. However, as president, he prioritized speaking Ukrainian in public, emphasizing its importance as the country's official language and strengthening his connection with citizens across the nation. Zelensky's fluency in English has also played a significant role on the global stage. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, his direct, impassioned speeches in English to international audiences, including the U.S. Congress and the United Nations, helped rally support for Ukraine. His ability to communicate without intermediaries resonated deeply with global leaders and audiences, amplifying Ukraine's calls for assistance. In a country with complex linguistic dynamics, Zelensky's command of both Ukrainian and Russian has helped him bridge divides between different communities. His multilingualism symbolizes his adaptability and dedication to effective communication, both at home and abroad. Fact 4. Victory without experience. Volodymyr Zelensky's victory in the 2019 Ukrainian presidential election was nothing short of extraordinary. Without any prior political experience, he defeated the incumbent president Petro Poroshenko in a landslide, winning 73% of the vote. His success was fueled by widespread frustration with corruption, bureaucracy, and traditional political elites, as well as his status as a political outsider. Zelensky's campaign broke the mold of traditional politics. Instead of holding large rallies or delivering conventional speeches, he relied on social media and modern communication tools to reach voters directly. His team posted short, informal videos addressing key issues, which resonated with younger voters and those disillusioned with traditional politicians. This fresh approach, combined with his fame from the satirical TV series Servant of the People, where he played a teacher turned president, made him a relatable and appealing candidate. Despite criticism that his lack of political experience made him unfit for the presidency, Zelensky's outsider status became his greatest strength. Ukrainians saw him as someone untainted by the corruption of past governments and as a figure of hope for real change. His victory symbolized a rejection of the old political system and a demand for a more transparent and accountable government. Blown away by these facts? Smash that like button, let's shock the algorithm together, and hit subscribe with the bell so you don't miss the juicy stuff coming up. Fact 5: Anti-oligarch stance. A cornerstone of Volodymyr Zelensky's political campaign and presidency has been his commitment to reducing the influence of oligarchs on Ukraine's economy and politics. Oligarchs, wealthy individuals who gained significant power during the chaotic post-Soviet privatization period, have long dominated Ukraine, controlling industries, media, and political factions. Zelensky positioned himself as a reformer who would break this cycle of corruption and reduce their grip on the country. One of his boldest moves came in 2021 when his administration introduced an anti-oligarch law. This legislation defined what qualifies someone as an oligarch, factors such as owning significant assets, influencing politics, and controlling media, and sought to limit their political power. For example, individuals identified as oligarchs would be prohibited from funding political campaigns or owning media outlets that could manipulate public opinion. While critics questioned the law's implementation, it signaled Zelensky's determination to challenge entrenched interests. Zelensky also faced personal challenges in this fight. His critics accused him of having connections to certain oligarchs early in his career, such as media magnate Ihor Kolomoisky, whose TV channel aired Servant of the People. Zelensky repeatedly denied undue influence and emphasized his independence, using his presidency to push for reforms aimed at leveling the playing field for ordinary Ukrainians and reducing corruption at all levels. This anti-oligarch stance resonated deeply with citizens frustrated by decades of oligarchic-demonstrated politics. While the struggle against oligarchic influence remains an uphill battle, Zelensky's focus on transparency and accountability continues to define his leadership. Fact 6: Times Person of the Year. In 2022, Volodymyr Zelensky was named Time magazine's Person of the Year, a recognition that highlighted his extraordinary leadership during one of Ukraine's darkest times, the Russian invasion. This honor was not only about Zelensky as an individual, but also about the spirit of Ukraine, representing the resilience and determination of the Ukrainian people in the face of overwhelming odds. Zelensky's leadership style during the invasion captured the world's attention. Refusing offers to evacuate from Kyiv, he stayed in the capital, demonstrating solidarity with his fellow citizens. His now famous declaration, "I need ammunition, not a ride," became a rallying cry for Ukrainian resistance. Time praised him for his ability to inspire through action, turning his defiance into a symbol of hope for Ukrainians and a call to action for the global community. What made Zelensky's recognition particularly remarkable was his transformation from a comedian and political novice to a wartime leader. His nightly addresses, delivered in his signature direct and empathetic tone, became a source of encouragement for his people. He also used his communication skills to mobilize international support, securing aid and weaponry by appealing directly to global leaders and citizens. Time emphasized that Zelensky embodied the courage and resilience of a nation fighting for its survival. His inclusion as Person of the Year placed him among other historical figures recognized for their influence during pivotal moments, solidifying his role as a global symbol of resistance and leadership. Fact 7: The voice of Paddington. Before his rise to political prominence, Volodymyr Zelensky worked as a voice actor, lending his voice to the Ukrainian version of Paddington, the beloved British children's character. In the 2014 and 2017 films, Zelensky brought Paddington Bear to life for Ukrainian audiences, showcasing his warm, comedic tone and ability to connect with people of all ages, even through animation. Zelensky's role as Paddington highlighted his versatility as a performer, blending humor and heart to create a relatable and endearing character. For many Ukrainians, his work on the film demonstrated his ability to bring joy and optimism even in small ways to everyday life. The choice of Zelensky as the voice of Paddington was particularly fitting given that the bear's story revolves around kindness, resilience, and a sense of justice, qualities that would later define Zelensky's presidency and leadership during the war. This little-known fact gained international attention in 2022 when the Russian invasion of Ukraine brought Zelensky into the global spotlight. Fans around the world were surprised to learn that the same man who was leading a nation through devastating conflict had once voiced such a charming and beloved character. The revelation further underscored Zelensky's unusual journey from entertainer to wartime leader and showed the many dimensions of his career. In retrospect, his role as Paddington can be seen as symbolic, much like the bear who stands up for what is right in the face of adversity. Zelensky has become a figure of courage and kindness, admired not only in Ukraine but across the world. Fact 8. Innovative presidential campaign. Volodymyr's presidential campaign in 2019 broke away from traditional norms and set a new standard for how political campaigns could engage with modern audiences. Instead of relying on massive rallies, formal speeches, or conventional political messaging, Zelensky focused heavily on social media and digital platforms to connect directly with voters. This innovative approach was particularly effective in reaching younger generations, many of whom were disillusioned with Ukraine's entrenched political elite. During his campaign, Zelensky and his team used short, creative videos to address key political issues and interact with the public. These videos were informal and often humorous, a stark contrast to the stiff, formal rhetoric of his competitors. He would speak plainly, addressing citizens' frustrations with corruption and inequality, while proposing reforms in a way that felt accessible and relatable. His campaign also utilized interactive methods, including polls and Q&A sessions on social media, to involve voters in shaping his platform. Another groundbreaking aspect of his campaign was the way it blurred the lines between his fictional role as president in Servant of the People and his real-life aspirations. Many voters saw Zelensky as an extension of Vasyl Holoborodko, the humble teacher turned president from the TV show who fought against corruption and stood up for ordinary citizens. While some critics questioned whether voters were conflating fiction with reality, Zelensky leaned into this connection, positioning himself as a true outsider capable of shaking up the political system. Ultimately, his digital-first strategy and unorthodox style resonated with Ukrainians across the country, especially younger voters who were tired of old political rhetoric. Zelensky's campaign wasn't just about winning votes, it was about redefining how a modern leader could engage with their people in an authentic and innovative way. His victory was a testament to the power of connecting directly with citizens through creativity, technology, and transparency. Blown away by these facts? Smash that like button, let's shock the algorithm together, and hit subscribe with the bell so you don't miss the juicy stuff coming up. Fact 9. Standing firm during the Russian invasion. Volodymyr Zelensky's leadership during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine became a defining moment in his presidency. When the invasion began, many expected him to flee Kyiv for safety, but Zelensky refused, choosing to remain in the capital alongside his people. His response to evacuation offers, "I need ammunition, not a ride," quickly became a symbol of Ukrainian resilience and defiance. By staying in Kyiv, Zelensky demonstrated extraordinary courage, inspiring both his citizens and the international community. His nightly video addresses, often filmed from his office or the streets of Kyiv, reassured Ukrainians that their leader was present and fully committed to the country's defense. These speeches not only motivated his people but also united them in the fight against Russian aggression. On the global stage, Zelensky worked tirelessly to secure military and humanitarian aid. Through powerful speeches to international bodies like the United Nations and U.S. Congress, he garnered widespread support for Ukraine. His unwavering stance made him a symbol of resistance, embodying the determination of a nation fighting for its survival and sovereignty. Fact 10. Entertainment career before politics. Before his political career, Volodymyr Zelensky was one of Ukraine's most prominent entertainers. His journey began in the 1990s with the KVN comedy competition, where his wit and charisma quickly made him a standout performer. Leading his team, Kvartal 95, Zelensky achieved major success, which laid the foundation for his career in entertainment. In 2003, he co-founded Kvartal 95, a production company that became famous for its comedy shows, films, and political satire. The studio's projects often poked fun at Ukraine's political elite, resonating with audiences frustrated by corruption and inefficiency. Zelensky's most iconic role came in the TV series Servant of the People, where he played a teacher who unexpectedly becomes president. The show's popularity reflected Ukrainians' hopes for a leader who could fight corruption, and it inspired the name of his real-life political party. Zelensky's entertainment career also showcased his versatility, from starring in romantic comedies to winning Ukraine's version of Dancing with the Stars in 2006. His ability to connect with audiences and deliver impactful messages as an entertainer later became key to his success as a political leader, helping him gain the trust of millions seeking change. Fact 11. A global advocate for democracy. Since becoming president, Volodymyr Zelensky has emerged as a prominent global advocate for democracy, particularly during the Russian invasion of Ukraine. He has consistently framed Ukraine's fight as more than just a territorial conflict, positioning it as a struggle for democratic values, freedom, and the rule of law against authoritarianism. This message has resonated with international audiences, rallying support from democratic nations around the world. Zelensky has addressed numerous parliaments, summits, and global organizations, including the U.S. Congress, the European Parliament, and the United Nations. His speeches often blend emotional appeals with sharp strategic arguments, emphasizing that supporting Ukraine is not just about helping one country, but about defending democracy on a global scale. He frequently reminds leaders and citizens alike that Ukraine is fighting on the front lines of a broader battle between democratic and autocratic systems. Through his advocacy, Zelensky has successfully secured billions in military and humanitarian aid, as well as sanctions against Russia. His ability to articulate the stakes of Ukraine's struggle has not only strengthened his nation's alliances but also elevated his own status as a global leader. By tying Ukraine's cause to the survival of democratic ideals, Zelensky has positioned his country as a symbol of resilience and inspired others to protect freedom in their own nations. Fact 12. Promoting digital transformation in Ukraine. As president, Volodymyr Zelensky has prioritized modernizing Ukraine through digital transformation, aiming to make government services more accessible and transparent. His administration launched the ambitious Diya platform, a digital government portal and mobile app that allows Ukrainians to access a wide range of services, including renewing passports, registering businesses, and even voting in local elections, all from their smartphones. This initiative has made Ukraine one of the leaders in e-governance globally. The Diya app, introduced in 2020, became a cornerstone of Zelensky's vision to reduce bureaucracy and combat corruption by minimizing human interactions in administrative processes. By digitizing services, the government aimed to streamline operations and make them more efficient while limiting opportunities for bribery. For many Ukrainians, the app has simplified traditionally cumbersome tasks, saving time and effort. During the Russian invasion, the platform also played a critical role in resilience efforts. Diya introduced features like financial aid distribution for displaced citizens and access to wartime information. This demonstrated the flexibility and importance of a modern digital infrastructure even during a crisis. Zelensky's focus on digital transformation reflects his forward-thinking leadership style and commitment to innovation. And by embracing technology, he has not only improved daily life for Ukrainians, but also positioned Ukraine as a leader in digital governance, inspiring other nations to follow suit. Blown away by these facts? Smash that like button, let's shock the algorithm together, and hit subscribe with the bell so you don't miss the juicy stuff coming up. Fact 13. Fostering national unity through crisis. One of Volodymyr Zelensky's greatest achievements as president has been his ability to foster national unity, particularly during times of immense crisis. Since the start of his presidency, Zelensky has faced significant challenges, including political divisions, economic struggles, and, most notably, the Russian invasion. Despite these difficulties, he has managed to rally the Ukrainian people around a shared vision of resilience, independence, and national pride. Before the invasion, Ukraine had been a nation divided by language, culture, and regional differences, with tensions between its Ukrainian-speaking West and Russian-speaking East. However, Zelensky's leadership during the war has bridged many of these divides. He has consistently emphasized that all Ukrainians, regardless of language or background, are part of one united nation fighting for its sovereignty. His own bilingualism and inclusive rhetoric have played a key role in this effort, demonstrating his ability to connect with citizens from all regions. Zelensky's personal courage, staying in Kyiv during the war and frequently appearing alongside soldiers and citizens, has further strengthened this unity. His direct communication style through nightly video addresses and public appearances has made him a relatable and reassuring figure during uncertain times. By focusing on shared values like freedom, independence, and the fight against oppression, Zelensky has galvanized the Ukrainian people to stand together in defiance of external threats. Under his leadership, Ukraine's national identity has grown stronger than ever, with a renewed sense of purpose and pride emerging from the adversity of war. This unity has not only bolstered the country's resistance, but has also inspired the world, proving the strength of a nation determined to defend its freedom. Fact 14. Championing anti-corruption efforts. From the start of his presidency, Volodymyr Zelensky has made anti-corruption a central pillar of his administration. Ukraine has long struggled with corruption in politics and business, which eroded public trust in government institutions and hindered economic development. Zelensky campaigned on a promise to address these systemic issues and build a more transparent and accountable government. One of his administration's key reforms was strengthening anti-corruption agencies and creating mechanisms to hold public officials accountable. Zelensky supported measures to increase the independence of institutions like the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, NABU, and the High Anti-Corruption Court, which were tasked with investigating and prosecuting cases of graft. Additionally, his government introduced reforms to enhance public access to government data, further promoting transparency. Zelensky also targeted high-level corruption, initiating investigations into oligarchs and their undue influence over politics and the economy. In 2021, his administration passed the de-oligarchization law, aimed at reducing the political power of the country's wealthiest individuals and cutting off their control of media outlets. Though controversial, this law marked a significant step in addressing the deep-rooted influence of oligarchs. While critics argue that some anti-corruption reforms have been slow or incomplete, Zelensky's efforts represent a significant shift toward rebuilding trust in Ukrainian institutions. His commitment to combating corruption has not only earned domestic support but has also reassured international allies and financial institutions, strengthening Ukraine's partnerships and securing much-needed aid. And by tackling one of Ukraine's most persistent challenges, Zelensky has laid the groundwork for a more equitable and democratic future.